No, they let them 10 past because we had to wait and talk to some people.
Oh, yeah, we might.
Because I thought I had another dive mode. I just picked up the boxes of bits and then took and dropped them off and
But it wasn't charging at all. It was bringing me up to say, what bits have I got or what? Yeah. Now it does.
I'm not quite sure. It's like, oh right.
All about our wedding. I hear church bells ringing. In my heart the song I'm singing. Diana, was there anybody flying inside of Carolina? If there isn't, you know who. Show us a new Diana. Well, 6 yards of blazing. I just want to kick and go. For those idle diamonds. Every night, bright your eyes, shake and cry. Just in case I might change your mind about me. Oh, Diana, if she ever went to China, I would have an ocean liner.
Cameron's got you there.
one of the days of flag holidays when it died. Good. Yeah. Cheers then. Yeah.
Anyway, it's nice to see it. Anyway, so
There's three of them actually, yeah.
Fine lines now.
If you just take the Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Prescott Hill Climb just outside Cheltenham in Gloucestershire, and as you can see we're having a great garden party atmosphere to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Little Austin 7. But not only that, we're showcasing 100 years of Austin 7 motorsport, and in the paddock area you will see some most amazing variations, all using the basic Austin 7 components as the basis for some pretty spectacular competition cars. We've got the museum cars coming from the British Motor Museum. These are cars that very seldom make it out onto a track, and we're being treated to exhibition runs by these cars today up the historic hill. We've also got the very latest in 750 historic racing Austin 7s, which all must comply by using components that were originally designed by Lord Austin and Stanley Edge 100 years ago. So it's quite remarkable the survival rate of these cars and just what a show they can put on. So please enjoy our live stream and you will see some quite remarkable and very rare cars taking part.
Did you see beautiful spin? It's ballet. You know what? What it's a weird setup. If you imagine from the drive to the and you've got one bar that goes this way and
Some strange reason. I know. I had loads of stuff. I said to swim in the closet.
That would have been it.
You rotten thing.
two gentlemen from Belfast, and lo and behold, it's I understand the story going up, and I heard them, as no doubt you did, and it sounds wonderful, doesn't it, the twin cam? There's nothing like it. So on the museum cars as such, allegedly, so we have no idea of the running order, but I'll try and identify all the cars in just in case it's not obvious, and also who's driving them. Of course, that was Andy Storer. That is the twin cam. It's the second one built. First one was written off when Pat Driscoll disobeyed Murray James's orders.
To just demonstrate it at Backwell Hill Climb. And of course, being Irish, he used to do his own thing, and basically overcooked it, according to Bert. Bert Hadley done his run in the side valve as an official entry, but there was no practice allowed, and there was it was basically a similar course to this. It was a private drive up to a house with a lot of overhanging trees which were wet, and Driscoll basically overcooked it, and of course it ended his racing career. He was lucky to survive, and although it says in the programme that it was due to a faulty ball joint, that was actually the rumour mongers and anti-Jameson people at Longbridge. That was the rumour they spread round. But Bert, the following day, it was back at the works, and Lord Austin was very concerned about this, or Sir Herbert as he was then, and of course Bert was working closely with him, and he perfectly went over on the Sunday morning to inspect the wreck, and he said all the steering joints were intact. So basically it wasn't mechanical, it wasn't Murray Jameson's design which was at fault, but it was the fact that Driscoll pushed his luck. But it's unfortunate it's in the programme that it's the old story, but never mind, that's old history. And the second car which we've just seen, that was basically Charles Goodacres, because he won 4 races in one day at Donington, and also later Charlie Dodson ran it as well as the hard driver. He and Bert got on very, very well indeed. They were both little blokes, although Charlie was 10 years older. Ex-biker, of course, very successful, and he, as Bert said, no dramas, he just got on with it. And but Bert actually drove the car you've just seen at Craigantlet one year, where he was had very fond memories of the Irish hospitality, etc. And of course they used to drive the cars along the public roads to the circuit. Anyway, here now is the flying and the scorer in the Dutch clog. Now this was the one that Grant Cowie brought over from Australia a few years back, and had a wonderful season with the VSEC, and famously won the Austin 7 race at Mallory. He'd never driven there before, and of course it's running on 19-inch wheels, as it did in period. It's very uncomfortable, because I actually tried to sleep in this car at the Centenary 100 years of the Austin Company at Cofton Park. I couldn't get to sleep. It was in this marquee with a load of other exotic stuff, so I decided to kip in it. And it's the most uncomfortable night's non-sleep I've ever had. But Bert's famous take on the Dutch clogs were abominable back-breaking abortions. He didn't like them. But it's all have been identified by the photographs, because all the front ends are all slightly different, because they're all handmade, of course, and Grant found out which one his car was. That was the one that went to New Zealand, incidentally, because he was a New Zealander who actually finished the car in Australia. There's another car, the Van Riet car, which was successful in South Africa. That's Martin Ayres got that. That's on. It may be here, but it's certainly in the foyer back at Morton, and that's got the sort of ruby cowling on it. It was quite a bit modified when Van Riet ran it, but it's at least 2 of the original ducks are back in this UK. Right, there's a pregnant silence at the moment. I can't see anything. There must be something half decent waiting to follow the duck up the hill, unless Andy's sprinting back down the return road to drive something else. We shall find out in a minute. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed your lunch break. I got talking as usual, and that's why I was 5 minutes late. It wasn't enough. I haven't really seen anything yet, but it's early days yet. And I hope you've all bought a programme. I hope you have. £5 goes to the Parkinson's UK charity, which this event is supporting, and all due to the fact that Charlie's family is involved in that nasty disease, and I'm sure you'll also wish to support that. And again, I will stress that all the hard work in getting these rare and exotic cars out of retirement and from various places is all down to Charlie and Graham Beckett, who worked so hard, plus with the backup of all the other volunteers. We've got a whole load back more at Morton, of course, and this is such a huge undertaking for all unpaid amateurs to get together. And there's been a few hitches, but everybody's been working so hard, especially when it was full heat yesterday. And I think we're getting there, folks, as you'll agree. And it's going to be a superb and a week to remember. And of course, we're not going to do it again, are we, folks? So it's worth all the petrol prices and God knows what, and let's make the most of it. So I'll shut up for a minute, unless somebody tells me what's coming up next. Oh, the course car is arriving, so that means there's going to be some more traffic. Yippee!
You've got the Chumney Ladies parade next.
Oh, we've got some lady chummies turning up. I should have some notes about this, but I've mislaid them. But these are a bunch of lady enthusiasts, a couple in pink. Let's see who they are. 303, I missed the first one. 303. Oh no, they're not on this list. I'm sorry folks, I haven't got the actual list in front of me. I do apologise, ladies. All in the nice different colours. Pink seems to be their favourite colour for race apparel. A nice Kingfisher blue Tourer. But these are all on a separate list, which I don't appear to have with me amongst this pile of paperwork, unless I can find it. I'm desperately trying to do. I have to hold the torque key down with one hand whilst I'm looking at this pile of papers. The trouble with these A4 sheets, they all look alike, don't they? No. Anyway. Unfortunately, I cannot find the list. I'm sure somebody gave me one. Anyway, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least 10 cars that I can see, so you will be seeing these up the hill as you watch from higher up. A wonderful colourful sight they are as well. There's a grey one, a royal blue one, Union Jacks everywhere, a sort of a pinky red one, another red one. These are all 300 series numbers. A well-used red one, I think that's the last one, and now we've got a VW going up. It looks like an official of some sort. We have to have one of those every now and again. So that was a superb, if anonymous, gaggle of ladies. I do apologise for not being able to identify any of them. The list will turn up eventually. So, right. Not quite sure what's happening next. I don't think anybody else. This might be an idea. Oh, wait a minute. I can see some more cars lined up. I can see Simplicity lined up and a cream-coloured car, which I can't see what it is. The paddock office is in the way. So there's another parade imminent, folks. Those of you up the hill, what? Give us about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll have another batch of interesting, if not unique, motoring hardware coming to a track near you. These all appear to be road-going cars. Some go faster than others. It might be a Swallow. It's a cream car, so you can't miss it. But it's out of my sight at the moment.
But this is what's on the live stream.
Oh yes. Yeah. I've just been I'm a bit of a technophobe, to be honest. I've just realised there's a nice screen in front of me, which is what you can see if you're on the live stream. It's on YouTube, I believe, and it's superb images up the course. Here we are again. No crash helmets, no red mist. There goes the tail end with the VW there. Right, okay. And there's a back view up to the finish line. And there we go. So it all brought to you by RH Specialist Insurance, and we all love and use. And I can see Simplicity and Chris Gould's record car with the pre-Russell 7 Club logo on the bonnet. 1976 and 77 Goodwood record attempts. This car still holds a number of the records. Some were taken off by a concerted MG effort, but I wasn't there, unfortunately, although I did make a modest contribution. But again, it was a wonderful collection of enthusiasts from all the different clubs getting together to work the impossible. And I think it's let's just find here. I think it's Roger French who's at the wheel of Simplicity. Of course, it was built by Jack French, who did so much to promote the use of Austin 7s and to produce workable sporting Austins out of nothing, basically. And we have a caption from the Irish Austin 7 Club, Mr. William Cuddy, sending greetings. Various adverts coming along. Oh, we've got some more Austins. A red Ulsteroid of some sort. They're coming in from another direction, so they have got to be slotted into the queue. Warm regards from South Africa, from Paul Fisher. And the first one is indeed $2.99. Let's see who that is. Swallow two-seater. It's a 31, is it? Oh, my numbers go up to 96. So I'm not sure who that is. The passenger is filming, of course. Now I do know this is Simplicity, and this is I think it's Robin French. Well, I think it's Jack's nephew or son. actively campaign. That's the car, not Robin. It's the Simplicity, one of Graham Beckett's fleet in use this season. I can see RN, which is the registration, not the model, and it's Chris and Angie Gould. It's used as one of his very popular fiberglass and accurate replica bodies, which he sold for quite a few years and have made many good specials out of. And Chris is here all the way from sunny Worthing, and I must remember to give him the crown wheel and pinion that I borrowed off him before I return home. The Swallow has stalled halfway up. It's stuck, hence the delay. And the Marshal is sprinting at a moderate rate at another one with a fire extinguisher. This is the way you do it these days. Take no chances. Safety is paramount. It's something has either happened. It's either lost traction or something. And they're going to push it. Oops. Going to try and push start it. It's kangarooing and it's away. Brilliant. Maybe the starter motor decided it had enough. And it's on its way, so it is coming up the hill, folks. It's on its way. It's an early one. It's got the original radiator, so it must be about a 1928 two-seater. Relatively rare. And it looks like new, doesn't it? And of course these were always in spectacular feminine colour schemes to appeal to the ladies. Meanwhile the Simplicity has shot off, and here come the... And I don't know who the driver is. Chris is with him, and I think it may be one of the original team that formed the relay team at I'm sorry, I know him by sight. Both equally distinguished and white haired, of course. I don't know whether Chris can hear me. I'd like to know who the driver is. I can hazard a guess, but I don't want to get it wrong. Anyway, we'll find out later. Anyway, RM's off. And I apologise to the driver for not knowing who he is. And now we have, it's a Mr. T. Sanders, a black Ulsteroid, very impressive. Very impressive. It's been on some Austrian escapade at a Fringe, but I missed his number, so I don't know who it is in actual fact. And the next one is Bert's old Grasshopper. At least the number plate is, and apparently the engine and gearbox is, but it's actually the replica built by Graham Steinfort in America using the original engine and gearbox, which was in Bert's primary trials car. And I think it's Amelia, one of the Storer clan, who's driving, with the patriarch of the family in the passenger seat, looking a bit apprehensive. And when Ian Moore imported the car, he had to re-register it, of course, and somehow he persuaded Swansea, who we all know and loathe, to give him Bert's old number back. And now it's on there. It'd be nice to see it painted Birmingham Racing Green, wouldn't it? But there we go. I must agree, it's a no expense built replica. Very nicely done, but with a tubular body frame rather than an ash body. And that's his Joe 90, which is Chris's old 65, which holds the unofficial joggle of 18 hours something I did it in 22, in 92, but the late Bob Hearn and Andy did it in about 18 hours, which was exceedingly well done. Difficult to do now with the way traffic has altered, of course, even in 92 and 95 when we got halfway with John Skevington till the crank broke, because we were using the motorways, and that's one of the replicas of the first Boulogne cars, number 16, which is Geoffrey Wright. I don't think he built it, I'm not sure. Maybe the Tony Hutchins car, I'm not sure about that. And then the next one is number 7, which is, no, it's not. It's not number 7, it's 70 something. Can't quite see who that is. It's a red Ulsteroid of some sort. Very nicely presented, but I don't know who it is. And GMD, I do know this 84, it looks like 84, no, it was somebody that's crossed out. I think that is, the registration is known to me and I can't think whose car it is, so please forgive me folks. It's GMD, and I think it's one of the ex-works cars which was belatedly registered, and I can't think whose it is. It's obviously got competition history. I should know who that car is, but I can't. I do know that the next one, which is the gold-bodied long wheelbase special, which Stuart Arclay campaigned in the Bert Hadley Championship. He was beating the track cars, and yet it looked like a normal road car. It has now changed hands. Stuart's retired. I was talking to this gentleman who was unloading the other night, and it's good to see it out again. But it's actually on a Ruby chassis, so it's long wheelbase, so it's got a long bonnet with the Ulster body in its normal position relative to the back axle.
GMD sent one from Stuart Rowland.
I thought it was. Thank you.
And I'm Roger French, and I was not driving Simplicity.
Who was then?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Ask Graham Beckett.
Yes. I'll talk to you later. Nice to see you. Right. It wasn't Roger French driving, and he's no idea who was driving the Simplicity, but the man himself has just spoken to me. So thank you for that. And the car you've just seen, GMD, is the Rolt Ulster. I thought it was, I couldn't make up my mind. But Stuart Rolt, who's still building engines, bit of Austin 7 smoke, didn't do anybody any harm. And we've seen that car before, and I still don't know who's driving it, but it's a travel stain. What's it? Anyway, it was the Rolt Ulster, which Barry Clark and Martin Eyre successfully campaigned as well. And erstwhile secretary, I'm waving at you. Wake up, Gerald. Gerald Mullard in the Hamblin cadet bodied car, which he's done very well in. Bert Hadley, he won his class last year, and it's in regular use this season. One of the special bodies available in the 1960s, built in Dorset, and it's one of the best available, that is. I asked him who did the very nice paint finish, but he liked it when he bought it, he said, which was very lucky. But he's worked very hard on that car to keep it fitting well. He's been over the bank at Harewood, which had never been done before, and lived to tell the tale. And the next one is number 42. I know nothing about. Oh, this is an air-cooled flat twin. 42, which is... No, it's not. No, it can't be 42. Now, this, I believe this is in your program, this car. So look in your program. I think it's one of the featured cars in there. So look in your program, folks. You'll learn all about it. I will look at mine later when I have time. I apologise for not knowing who it is now. The car VG is an Ulsteroid. It's got a Bert Hadley sticker on it. And it's number 64. So I should know who it is. It's Claire Moody and David Simmons. And Claire is suitably, looks like Hiawatha actually, with a feather in her band. And Claire does VSCC and the Bert Hadley, supported by friends. Very enthusiastic, and the aero engine job is backing down, and Claire is now going to attempt the hill. Good to see this car. I think this car came from Barry Clark at one stage. And there we go. I do like the feather in the hairdo adornment. Look very fetching, Claire. And now we have another Speed X, number 54. We should find out who this is. I don't know the gentleman. It's Simon Hayes, with possibly his mother on board. I may be wrong. You have to be careful when you're making assumptions. There is a Speed X in circulation at the moment. The one that Rod Dainty campaigned in the Bert Hadley, and now Linda Price is doing the historic 750 Formula races with the 750 Motor Club, and also some Bert Hadley rounds as well. That one is red though, not to be confused with this ivory one. Very popular in the day. And now we have Chris Hudson bringing up CZ. Now this is the Irish entry. I tried to buy this car at one time and I was £2,000 short of the asking price, because I always fancied a Le Mans entrant. Anyway, eventually Peter Butler, XMP, got hold of it, and Terry was blowing his trombone late earlier on. He drove it for Doug Baird, who brought it over. And it's had a very checkered history, but it's a bit like Paddy's Axe, but it is the genuine car, folks. Irish Belfast registration on, and it was the Car Barber duo, and it qualified for the next year's race. But of course, the French were on strike that week, so it didn't go again. But 75 years later, it appeared at Le Mans Classic 2010. And it went like a train, ladies and gentlemen. There was all sorts of exotic stuff, overheating and expiring, but thanks to mainly the Lynx group of the Pre-Austin 7 Club and various people, and driven by Andy Storer and Chris Hudson, who at the wheel now, it went like a train. And they also did the next one as well. Now this is a Bugatti look-alike. My son has actually acquired a kit, an unfinished kit with a Bugatti body on it. Not quite like that one. Number 77, that is... Oh, it's Mike Farrell. Now, I know Mike from years back. We've known as the gas man because he was an anaesthetist. Bit of a character, and he builds things out of nothing as he feels like it. And great to see him still there. A lot of us go back to the 60s and even further back than that in actual fact, some cases. The next one is number 50. It looks like a 65 or a nippy. 50, Richard Butterworth. got a VSCC sticker on and various other things. I know nothing more about that. The next one is number 66 with a Swansea number on it. 66, where are we? Page 2. That is Vicky Sly, who appears to be at the wheel. Again, I think she possibly is a VSCC personality. I'm no longer a member, so I can't comment. And there's another one with a Sheffield registration number on, CWA, and I'm looking for the number which is on the top. And it's a 3-figure number which I haven't got. Good heavens, 400 and something. So I can't help you on that. But the one after that is Paris to Peking, which is number 51, which I can tell you about it. Which I think is Ray and Barbara Moses, unless I've got the number wrong. Let's wait till it gets... There's a little blip in the glass on this window and I can't quite catch it out. 51. Yes, Ray and Barbara Moses. And it says Paris to Peking. Or Peking to Paris, I do beg your pardon. So that tells you in a nutshell, doesn't it? There really are some amazing intrepid people who do these fantastic journeys, a lot of which aren't possible today with the world situation being what it is. A lot of the trouble spots of the world are no longer accessible for non-aggressive motoring, shall we say, which is sad, isn't it? Now, I'm looking at the screen. I can't see any reason for the hold-up because it's showing the start line. I keep forgetting this screen is here because it's just above my head and I'm not looking at used to looking at screens during the daytime anyway. So I don't know what the delay is. Oh, just seen a 65 go up, so something is on the move, and presumably there's another one coming up. No? Yes. So we're moving again, folks. So I will now hope to catch up. So we've identified the Peking to Paris, and then there's another RN registered, an orange, not quite blood orange, but similar. We'll find out his number's curled over off the honeycomb. I can't read it. But I do know what's after that. It's Martin Baker in the youngest known AEK Speedy Sports. Martin now runs the Speedy Register. I used to do that sort of thing a long time ago, or never got the car finished, although it was finished in time for the wonderfully rain-soaked Cofton Park job, where we had 8 or 9 Speedies filling up with water. Wonderful sight. So I can't tell you what number this orange one is, because the piece of paper has flopped over. But 42 is Martin Baker and his good wife, I think. No, it's not. He's shaking his head. They don't appear embarrassed. You have to be so careful these days. Anyway, good afternoon, madam, or Ms. Anyway, he's so enthusiastic. He lives in somewhere called Basingstoke, which I think is down south somewhere, but he actually comes to our track day at Kerborough. Memorably, him and Richard Dupre, they seem to go like chained together. They came and we actually had snow, would you believe? It was in March, but it was snow, and it was snow. We had a whiteout, and these Intrepid 2, they were setting off. He'd only got to go as far as Basingstoke. Richard, he lives in central London, and I asked him afterwards, did you get there okay? He said yes, but the snow really began when we got to Oxford. But absolutely brilliant stuff. That has no side screens. Oh, the aero engine thing, that's going up now. And now we've got a young David Furnell. I've got his sponsored rain jacket, a later Furnell Transport. That is the toy, which he campaigns indecently at his age. He obviously can't hear me. Anyway, great supporter of the Austin 7 movement. He's sponsored the 6-hour relay team on a number of occasions. So I do have the somewhat grubby rain jacket that was very useful on the day. He's awake. All wearing fancy shades, and at least he's got his cap on right the way around. No racing, David. No red mist. It's a very rapid. I think the Brewster family had built this car. It's very minimal, and you can see it's got an underfloor petrol tank with the filler on the side. And the next one is 75. I have to keep turning over. 75 is John and Tom Vaughan was Dennis. Well, work that one out. I don't understand that. Anyway, it's an Ulsteroid. But I do know number 40. That rings a bell. JY. Why do I remember the registration numbers? Well, gives me something to do. But I don't recognise the Richard Lance, who is apparently driving it. Oh, hang on, yes, I do know this. It's the missing Speedy. Yes, it is. This used to be Chris Taylor's car, was it? No, it's not. It's the Portsmouth registered one. I've forgotten who it belonged to. A lot of them stayed in ownership for many years, then suddenly 2 or 3 were sold. But it's nice to see it put together. It's an original. It's actually a 75, but it's a 34 car. The 35s became Speedies, along with the Unipis, of course. Now, a gentleman, number 33, looking very period in his headgear, etc., is one of our visitors. 33. Oh no, it's Tony Hodson. 33. Got a foreign number. Perhaps he's an expat. Anyway, there he goes. Possibly flying the flag in France, is he? And now we have this. Trying to think. I know the car. I don't know his name. I can't see his flipping number. I do know the one beyond that though, which is a very fast Ulsteroid, and I do know the. Speaking to the former owner last night, who now has a Ruby, and John Skevington used to chase this former owner in the car which is coming up after this one, and if I can catch his number, I think it's 46, so I think it might be Walter Thompson, and the next one must be Colin Danks, and I'm not sure who's with him. Hi Colin. Hi Colin. Here he is. He's talking. This was campaigned by Ian Hurwood for many years. Colin has re-engineered it. I used to call it the fastest Ruby in the West, because that's a Ruby chassis under this, with all the cross members moved, and the engine sits very low and further back, but it's exceedingly as a racing car, it's one of the best, and Colin has reworked it. I think he's built a new engine for this, and he's been very successful in it. And it's had still looking very, very pristine, although possibly some of the bodywork's been replaced. But Ian used to be a regular, so old Scabby was always trying to catch Ian up, but Ian was a bit lighter than Scab was. I think that possibly made a difference. Now, Clive Danks, that's Colin's dad, in the this replica of the TT car, where he's got his cap on the back. This is a replica of Gunnar Pop's actual car, which ran in the TT. They're all painted in different colours so they could be identified on track. And it's a very painstakingly, he doesn't use it much in competition, but it's a beautifully presented reproduction of an original which doesn't exist, and painstakingly researched. Now, this glass is very peculiar, I can't read this. I know the next two cars. I've seen the car, it's running in the Burt Hadley Championship, it's got the sticker on the side. Now I do know the next one. It's Stuart Ulf, not sure who's with him. Now this is one of Bill Williams' specials. It's the Almac special that Peter Almac had built for him and raced at Brooklands, and it's got these aluminium and steel aero-light wheels which were marketed. I've seen a Vauxhall 12 with them on 16 inch, and these are 15 inch, and they use Fiat 500 tyres, which are the only ones available at the time. 68, I have to keep turning over, I should know this. 68, it's Joe Tisdall, of course it is. Hi Joe, hang on. God, without the crash helmet on I can't recognise him. I think Vince Leake had a big hand in this. Yeah. In blood orange-ish, which was one of the works cars, colours, again so they could be seen. They did vary over the years, and very actively campaigned. And thank you for sending the reprint of the Ulster TT programme. Thank you, Joe. Always looks newer than new. And now we have a green, and I think I know who this is actually. 31, it's Chris Dallas from up north. Hi Chris, who buys and sells anything apparently, including Austin 7s. I've seen this car before, and that is very typical of the colour schemes which were available. Almost swallow type colours, green and cream. But it's nice to see this car. It appears to be quite original. We don't often see it. And the next one is this car. Oh, it stopped. I keep trying to identify, but I can't see a number on it. No, I can't see a number on it. I don't even recognise him. 80, thank you. Number 80, right. Silver on the list. 80. It's Ben Bolt, of course it is. Right, now then. I was there at Silverstone. I was there when the Bolt family won the Austin 7 team prize. The only time a family have ever done it on their own. There was father and son and somebody else, all in cars which Ben had built, and I apologise for not realising which one it was. It's all been brought back to life and reconditioned. I think it was out abroad, and now this may be Claire Furnell. Is it Claire? It is Claire. Hi Claire. Take your glasses off. Now Claire, she's has another. She's still Claire Furnell, but there's another name tacked on the end. We won't go into that. Anyway, she's driven this many times in anger, and she's having a go today. Started with a long wheelbase Ulsteroid, which had a Rod Yates body, when he was building the long wheelbase aluminium bodies. I don't know whether he's here this year. Another lad from Nottinghamshire, of course. Now in East Sussex. Away she goes. I'm glad they can hear me on the start line, because I'm working largely in the dark on this. I don't really know what I'm doing, folks, but I hope it doesn't show too much. Anyway, it's only a bit of fun, and we're only doing it once, so let's make a crack of it. I'll just have a little slurp of this non-genuine Red Bull I've got in this thing. Looks a bit like a sample, but never mind. And I'm now looking at the screen again, which I keep forgetting is there. These are wonderful pictures. And there we have Gregory Harrison. That's his dad sitting nervously in the passenger seat. This is the ex-Pierre de Villiers car, which is, for some reason, he narrowed at the front, which was a lot of hard work really, but the cowling is about an inch narrower, and there's the bonnet and everything else. And he actually took this car abroad and won races with it against all modern stuff. Jeff, who's still scrutineering at Harewood and at the VSCC, he can fill you in with all the history. He's had it many, many years, and incidentally he also has Reg Nice, who many of you will remember. Reg isn't too well at the moment, so he's not here, but the car that he campaigned for 35 seasons, one of his trio of red Ulsters, Jeff has got the other car now. And young Greg, as I used to call him, he's a bit older now, he also co-drives this car in sprints and hill climbs. And young Greg, as homework, took an early video of one of the seasons of the Bert Hadley, featuring his dad mainly. There's a picture of me running backwards somewhere, but it was all part of his degree thesis, with quite a big old video camera. How technology has changed. I think he's done this before actually. He knows the lines to take. These are cracking pictures which are on YouTube, I believe. I hope I've got that right. Those of you who just joined, hearing me, you'll gather that I'm not into technology. At least not modern technology. And there's another car arrived on a trailer by the gate. They're still coming in, folks, looking for somewhere to dump it. It looks like a white nippy or something. We haven't had an all white one lately, so maybe it's a continental one. They do like bright colours, particularly in Australia and America. And I think it's something to do with the sunshine. But we've got a little bit of a lull, although the screen is still showing the circuit. We have, I think it's Chris Hudson with the side valve. This is not the car that Kay Peter raced, it's the other one. Only two were built, and this was painstakingly reconstructed by Keith Taylor, who did Bert Hadley's twin cam on behalf of the Motor Industry Research Trust, which is GATE basically for you and me. Had a new crank and rods in it, but it really did a superb job of it. I believe Keith is here today. I have spoken to him. No, somebody told me he was here. Hello, he stopped. I think he stalled it. And the course car is coming up, all flashes out, trying to start it in reverse. And he's managed it. Well done, Chris. Bit of experience without breaking anything. So he's on his way again. So those of you at the top will hear the side valve, the ultimate Jameson side valve. with its massive vertical blower, almost as big as the engine. Bert said they were lovely little cars, but you had to know your limits because the chassis twisted. And of course they all ended up with the famous divided front axle, which cured a lot of the axle hop, which only a genius like Murray Jamieson could have devised. All it is, basically it's a roller bearing in a housing which allows the front axle in effect to twist. And now we've got a red single-seater with a registration number on the back. So somebody's got it legally on the road, but I can't see what it is. It looks like a side valve replica, but it's in red. So there's a white-haired gentleman with a Porsche Club thing on the back. His head is right in the way, and he's talking to a rather burly gentleman in blue, and I'm trying to recognise the distinguished looking driver, but I can't. I think it's one of it might be one. It's a rag replica, one of the series of yes it is, I can see what it is now. I think it's maybe the one at yes, I think we're having the rag replicas. Now I knew the Rag family from way back, but Adam has got all the, I think he's driving it, he's one of the sons, and this was actually road registered, probably as a Ruby actually. So we shall see several of these cars coming up. But first, pray silence for Musical Magic. It's the twin cam, no less, with Andy. He's getting the hang of this, isn't he? About the fourth time it's been up so far. Just listen to this engine, folks. Deeper than an ERA. Amazingly enough, it's only half the size, and it's still going. It's fiddling with something. That car's got a hand pump, which Murray Jamieson worked a superb system working off the manifold vacuum, and the folks at Longbridge, after he'd gone to ERA, they ripped it all out. Bert knew how it worked, nobody else did, so they put old-fashioned hand pumps on. But Bert's car had the proper system, which I think it still has. But Murray Jamieson was a genius. What he would have done for the war effort, who knows? Nearly caught the rumble strip then, Andrew. But of course, it's owned by the Heritage Trust, what is now the British Motor Museum. We call it Gaydon, we know what we're talking about. And for years it languished there, because that car was rebuilt by the Wheatcroft mechanics. They did what they could with it. Bert was brought in as a consultant. He actually rebuilt both the gearboxes, and then there was some argy-bargy going on. And in the end, Wheatcroft had to give the other two cars back, but they let him keep the dismantled Hadley car, which eventually got done, and it was public debut was in the Centenary 100 in 2005. The rest is history. We've done that, so we won't go over that again. But this is amazing here. If I can just turn over. I hope you've got your programmes, folks. £5 goes to Parkinson's, as you know. Please buy your programme. It's £5 worth. Lots of lovely pictures and everything here. And the Bugatti Terrace is now the Rag Terrace. Right, I'm looking at the circuit, and now we're back in the paddock. So obviously nothing's happening up top. These are fantastic. I keep forgetting this screen's here actually, because it's right up by my forehead. And everything's in, the colours are spot on, it's wonderful. And it's all thanks to my friend Richard Davey, who's round the back here, working it all out. And all this is going out live, folks, on YouTube, I think. And there's another gang doing live streaming what's going off at Morton throughout the week. So it's all been recorded for posterity and beyond. So the course car is here. This fantastic Mini. It's a relatively slim Mini. They really are grotesque, some of these Minis, aren't they? Fiat have done it with the 500s, you know. They make a Fiat 500 as big as a transit van. And it's the clog is coming round, and it's gas and Distora. We used to know him as gas when he was running the sports register. He was only about 21 in that in back in the day, and he was always coming around at 100 miles an hour, so we called him gas. And he hasn't changed. I mean, he's nearing his pension now, I think, but he's still as mad as a box of frogs, and one may continue. And of course, he's having the time of his life here. I think he's driving at least 3 motor cars today, folks. And it's going up the course, and you realise how stridently the early racing Austins looked on. Standard track, 19-inch wheels. The very early cars, of course, were beaten dead tyres. Looks like they've got normal motorcycle tyres on, probably. Good old Avons, possibly. Although, of course, it was rebuilt in mainly Australia. And the course cars are having a job to keep up with him. These are characteristic speeds, ladies and gentlemen, I think is the word. Characteristic. No red mist so far, so we're doing well. It's amazing.
Would you like me to lower the screen down a bit?
No, I won't be able to see.
Okay.
I'm having a job to pick the numbers out because this glass is not float glass, it's a bit wavy. Okay. And there's a bit of bird shit on it as well as something. I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. We are a public broadcast service. I do realise this is a great speaking to half the world here, apparently. But no, it's my age. I don't care a hoot. I've done this sort of the odd hill climb and sprint meeting where usually the commentator doesn't know what an Austin 7 looks like because they're looking at modern hatchbacks and stuff. So I go in, or have been doing on the odd occasion, just to help them out a little bit. And it's all a load of rubbish, really. But we do our best to be informative. I should have had Liam here today. We were going to do it like a double act, but he's working because all his mates have got COVID. I thought his drone might have had flat batteries, but he's a young guy who had the loan car last year very successfully and filmed it all and videoed it all, drone pictures everywhere. And it's a pity he wasn't here today because he was the thrusting young technocrat of the coming generation of Austin 7 enthusiasts, and I'm obviously not. Anyway, no doubt he'll catch up on all. He may even be watching on YouTube as we speak. Who knows? But anyway, we're back in the paddock. So unless Andy's leaping out of one, I can tell you can't leap out of the Dutch clog because it fits you like a glove. I've sat in it and it's most uncomfortable. But the course car is coming around again, so that means we've got track movement. And I'm looking to my right through the 3 lots of glass. I can see nothing. Oh yes, it's another rag, I think, being push started. it's one of the Ragg brothers, James. In this, Alan Ragg actually road registered this car with cycle wings, and I think it's got a Reliant engine in it actually. I've met Andrew, but I haven't met James. And the car, next one, I think, is in Nottinghamshire, in actual fact. I think it's that one. It's come back to life and is being, it's more been, I think Pigsty have had a go at it recently, if it's the car I'm thinking it is. It's now in competitive use again. 94. 94. 94. No, I'm wrong. It's Jerry Flockhart. That's an early car. And 95 is Chris Beardsmore. And I do know, here we are, the guy's actually woken up. Hi Michael. Mike Harvey. That used to belong to Terry Brown, who used to campaign it. And here's Pete Pearson, and it must be his son. Is it Adam? You probably can't hear me. This is probably one of the best presented. Pete Pearson has taken part in every year of the Burt Hadley Championship, which is now in its 28th season. He's not the fastest, always has fun, and it's beautifully presented. Now the next car, again I can't quite see the number on it, 91, I think it must be Adam, his son, driving it, certainly not Pete Pearson. I know the green Ragg car, they've all got different cowlings, but I can't quite see the number, damn it. Oh dear. It might be 97. No, it can't be. My list only goes up to 96. It could be Richard Huntley, if he can hear me. Are you Richard Huntley, sir? No, he can't hear me. Anyway, we'll find out later. And behind him is Terry Griffin, who's having a bit of mobility problems just lately, so he's having a quiet period, but he's been campaigning this, I think it's since about 2000, so it's been on the go for 20 years, and of course we're all 20 years younger, 22 years younger in fact. He built this car, the body was by Paul Jenkins, and he got it right straight out of the box. And I have actually driven that to the toilets at Kerborough, and very comfortable too. And I've missed who that was. This is Nick Allen with the Shelsley, Martin Wicketer. And I think that is, that's the Forest Special. And I'm not sure, oh that's an old Pigsty car. I think Tim Marr used to race that one. And this is a recreation of Slippery Ann, with one of the creators driving it. I know he does have the original bonnet panel, the Slippery Ann sign ring, like a pub sign basically, so it's genuine, but basically has recreated something which doesn't exist. But it was a special, I think it had an extended wheelbase, and also the rear springs, which we all know and love, are splayed out. They're actually parallel to the chassis, which was an early modification. There's the Graham or Henry Harris, reversely sitting on the back seat of course, rebuilt as Mike Forrest built it. It was originally his only means of transport. He was not quite an Irk in the RAF, but he was a trainee in the RAF, and he built this on camp in his spare time. And of course the purists were horrified. And a fine shot there on the hauling convoy. And that green Ulstroid, who I'm not sure who's driving it, belongs to Mike Harvey, but before that it was campaigned by a certain Darrell Woods, who some of you may know. And before that, it was one of the Frank and Anders group of cars. Of course, Frank and Anders, he's retired from racing now. They had a gearbox for every venue. It's so specialised. And here's the smoking a bit, but we'll forgive him for that. We all have a bit of old Castellar springs to memory. Yes, nice little bevy that was. But there's more to come. I can see some various Ulsteroid tails assembling. But we've got to wait for the course car. Even though this is a an untimed visit, it's all under MSA UK jurisdiction, folks. You wouldn't believe it. And the Bugatti Owners Club, bless them, they have to go by the book. Although the book doesn't exist in printed form. I think I've got one of the last blue books printed about 2016. Everything's online these days. I'm not, of course. So we're all the dinosaurs are becoming persona non gratas. You can't talk to anybody these days. But here comes the Mini. That'll have to be going for service soon. It's been worn out. Oh no, it's parked up. But I can see Richard Dupre's Speedy, the cherry red one. I can see the back end of that, or the back end of the bodywork. But no, it's happening. But I'm looking at
we're in the exhibition area where there's a hive of activity. We've got Austin 7s everywhere, and with me is Emma Erie of RH Insurance, who are our platinum sponsor for the whole event and have made this very much possible. Emma, would you like to say a few words about Austin 7s?
Thank you very much indeed, Charlie. Well, it's always an absolute pleasure to be with our good friends from the Austin 7 community. This is a tremendous event, and I think it's testament to all of your hard work over the last probably 6-12 months, if not longer, to make this the success that it is. We're glad it's a bit cooler today. We can see some amazing Austin 7 frisky action going on there. And yeah, we're just absolutely delighted to be this. This is our 45th year working closely in partnership with the Austin 7 Clubs Association, so it's really fitting that we were able to be one of the headline sponsors, so thank you.
Well, thank you indeed, Emma, that's great.
Right, okay, back on air. Yes, we're going to slot some interviews in at Charlie Payne Jones in the nice college garment he's wearing. Right, yes, thank you very much, Richard Dupre, and very attentive passenger. Thank you for holding your number up. This is another 35 model, so it is technically a Speedy, not a Sport 75, although the model is EK, of course, and it was one of the later ones to be put together. A lot of these were in long-term ownership, painstakingly built, and I actually contribute to about half a dozen of the cars with the cowlings and things like that. Little bits make a lot of the bits were missing. And here comes a member of the Storer gang, in fact 2 members of the Storer gang. This is the Graham Steinfort replica grasshopper, cheekily wearing Bert Hadley's old trials car number, BOA60. It is, of course, a reproduction, but exceedingly well done, considering it was done in Australia. Allegedly has the original engine and gearbox. The car itself, after it was sold by Austin's, mysteriously caught fire somewhere. Bert could have bought it, but he declined, and then went on to campaign COA 118, I think it was. Right, I missed that one. I can't always see the number, and I don't always know the car. So some of the cars I know, some of the drivers I know, but I can't always see the numbers. And we're following the BOA60, and it's Australian red. Of course, it would have been Birmingham Racing Green in its day as the original car. 206. 406. I haven't got 406. My list only goes up to 96. 79. Let's see who this is. 79. 79. Hugh Kerr. Good afternoon, Mr. Kerr. I don't know you, but welcome. In factory colours. The Austin's use all sorts of colours. White, duck egg blue, mainly for K. Peter, blood orange, a dark red. Orange was basically so they could be picked out on the circuit, because very often they were running amongst larger vehicles, and if they were shadowed, they couldn't pick the team cars out, particularly when they were dark red. So somebody had the bright idea, let's do them orange. So it's technically blood orange. And we have Gerald again. In the nice dry circuit, so we'll see Gerald doing a bit of practice for the next event. And of course all the passengers, those who have passengers, oh dear, it's filming that they've stopped. No, it's on the move again. That was strange. So we're on the move again. I guess there's somebody at the back of him, although possibly not. So I've just twigged that these cars don't need a course car in front of them, so they're not being driven by racing drivers, so that they can be trusted. So they are, Gerald, you're on your own, have a go at it. Characteristic speed, of course. This Ulsteroid is going slowly to the top. I think it will make it. Yes, it's on the move. So we're off again. There's still one or two cars around the corner. There's one on the corner, appears to have got an airbag or a tent in the hanging out the spare wheel compartment. That can't be right. Anyway, we shall see. And there's this one I keep. There is it 60. Is it 64? Can you read the number? Anybody? Can you read the number? We think it might be 69, which is Jeffrey Howell. 69? 59. Oh, hang on. Right, James Miles. Thank you, sir. Right, we know where it is now. Now he's running in the historic 750 Formula. Oh yes, he's got his name on the scuttle. Right, fair enough. I have seen the car in action. It's currently doing the... they're on a bit of a roll at the moment, the racing. It's the only bit of the Austin 7 world which is connected to the 750 Motor Club these days, because they are primarily a modern racing formula, and they keep adding new strands to their bow. So we gratefully, the Pre-Austin 7 Club, took quite a lot of their 750 members into our fold. And very welcome they are too. Excellent. This is 47, which is Willie and Barbara McVicker. Nice tidy car there. And this flat twin aero engine job, or whatever it is, I think it's in the programme. I must check this out. And it's number... let's have a look in the programme. So until I find out, I know nothing about it. We've got one or two specials. There's one with a 3-cylinder radial engine in. I think Dave Williams of the Austineers built that. Just because he found the engine, he decided to build a car around it, as you do, of course. Right. Right, that might be Matthew Moore. Anyway, we'll check up on that later. There's so many cars here, it's new cars which we haven't seen before, and I apologise for my slight lapse of ignorance, which is occurring quite regularly. Anyway, of course the timetable's gone to pot, so I'm not sure where we are. It's 3:25 now, so I'm just looking at the old timetable to see if we're anywhere looking like it was suggested. There's so many bits of paper here, it's ridiculous. And somewhere there's a timetable, as was. So we'll go back to 34. Now this is one of the German entries, and it is Holger Kempf, no less. Very interesting. I had a look at this last night at Norton. Very nicely put together. Detail work is superb. There he goes. So I can't tell any more than that at the time being. I'm still slightly desperate to find it. Oh, here we are, found it. It's in the programme, of course. This timetable. There goes the ex-Stuart Arclay gold-bodied, that's gold, not gold. Chris made about 100 of these bodies, and while some of the cars have been converted to aluminium bodies, for obvious reasons, PSCC, availability, etc., a lot of them have been recycled yet again into building other cars. And, right, okay, he's gone up on his own. This seems to be, if you want to have a go, get your car out. So anything that's in the paddock and is mobile, I would think, have a word with somebody, you can have a go up the hill. Right, so it's now 3:30 nearly. According to the original timetable, 3 o'clock to 3:15 was museum car runs. Well, we've had several of those, and from 3:15 to 4 will be paddock cars, individual runs, and that will be the end of the proceedings on the track at 4 o'clock. So we've got an hour. In fact, we haven't got an hour, have we? And that 35 minutes, unless it has been changed. I do hope it has, because the day is young yet, folks, isn't it? And whilst we've got nice fine daylight, let's use it. The Pigsty Special, or one of them, the slimline version that is on the move. I've met the owner. This was the car that Tim Mile is actually still racing, I'm told, because he was inclined to get a bit near to other competitors apparently. But he's been racing a long time as Tim, and still plays the clarinet as well, I believe. And this is number 61. I've met this guy. I'll just tell you who his name is. It's Malcolm Gibson. He used to have the radiator at the back, would you believe? Where the aluminium panel is, there used to be a little alcove with a mini radiator stuffed in the back. I don't know whether it worked or not, to be honest, but it's slightly altered. There's several pigsty cars here today. Quite a few of them have been recycled. Well, a lot of cars have been recycled, as are some of the drivers, to be honest. But quite a few of them are appearing in sprints and hill climbs. But I do hope that, obviously, with the high cost of fuel, a lot of people will be picking and choosing how far they decide to travel to events, whether rallies or whatever. And it obviously will have some effect on the turnout, but I have heard it's actually going down a bit, folks. Let's hope so anyway.
Well, I've got a very interesting car here, a very historic car. This has come all the way from the Brooklands Museum, where it's on permanent display. And with me is its owner, Peter Butler, who's going to tell us all about his...
Yes, good morning, or good afternoon. Anyway, hello. This is a Speedy 75, which ran at Le Mans as a private entry by Harry Ferguson of tractor fame, entered from Belfast, which is why the CZ registration number. And it ran successfully and finished the 24 hours ahead of the only survivor of the three works cars in 1935.
Yep. And then it's been back to Le Mans since then, hasn't it?
Yes, we took it back for the Classic Le Mans in 2010, and I had a very good team who worked tirelessly on her, and she ran faultlessly again, and so in fact we went back in 2012.
Yes, I remember we were in the audience watching that. That was a very historic event, a little Speedy 75 in amongst the Bentleys and the other big cars in the class, and it made a very stirring sight. Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Yes, good to see. I must try and catch up with Peter. I haven't seen him. I saw him at Le Mans actually. No, I was there, but not as part of the team. But I managed to get there thanks to my Triumph friend, and it was one of the best weeks because we visited battlefields before and after. It was one of the best weeks I've spent, and it's the only time I've actually slept in a £5 single-seater tent. But it was one of the best weeks I had, and I don't think it rained. The heat was bearable. We were actually on the Transport 6 campsite, which was near Arnage Corner. The hole in my tent actually overlooked the track, would you believe? And so I was surrounded mainly by Triumphs, but there were others there, and so we were very close to the action. And it was a superb event altogether, and the English commentator, who I knew slightly, was in the morning. He was saying, "Oh, I had a wonderful night's sleep in my hotel last night. Thank you to my French colleague who spoke in English throughout the night." I thought, yes, Jeremy Beggar, we were all sweating our cobs in tents and things. But it was a superb. I just went for the 2010 version, and of course they all did it again next year. I think the weather wasn't quite so good in the following 2 years later, but of course a lot of the pre-Walston 7 members were centred around Graham Beckett's workshop, and they sweated blood, sweat and tears to get it all there, and so did the rest of the team. But it was a fantastic example of comradeship and getting everything together. And of course, unfortunately, Peter wasn't able to drive it himself. But I believe his other Speedy, which was the one that Bert Hadley remembered, which was retained by the works up to 1939, he has since got that working again. So maybe I'll catch up with him later, because he actually trialled that for a time, which was a shame because the bodyworks were going to crack. But Bert Hadley actually remembered, because it was used as a road test car, even as late as 39. And a lot of these cars, when I had mine, were in long-term ownership, and one by one they moved on, and Peter was lucky enough to get that car in, as well as having the CZ, which was the one I tried to buy about 15 years earlier. But there we go. Nice picture of the people wandering around in the paddock. Austin 7s everywhere, of course. Oh, there's a modern over there, I don't know how he got in. Okay, oh, is that... I've been told to wrap it up. Hang on, Charlie's coming in. Are we finishing at the deadline of 4 o'clock?
Yeah. Well, the commentary, but cars are running thinner and thinner now.
So we're on air till 4.
Yes.
Well, we've still got some more interviews to reprocess. So I'll get Richard to put some more on.
Very good.
So you're going to be on air again.
Right. Okay. No.
Yeah. Well, I think we're working. Right,
Right, we were mentioning that the Austin 7s are the cheapest route into historic motor racing and motorsport. And with me now is Roger French, whose father was the key exponent of the idea that you could enter motorsport and have a lot of fun on very little outlay. And we're in front of a particular car called Simplicity that has a lot of significance, which Roger French is going to tell us about now.
Simplicity was built as an answer to Lotus, really. My father had been building a car that was taking a long time to complete, and he thought, this is ridiculous. The Lotus, the Mark III, had been dominant in 750 club racing, and he said, you don't need to do all that, you just need to put a car together simply, effectively, with good quality materials and meticulous assembly, and you can be competitive. He did. The result is still here. And in 1953, the car, driven by Arthur Mallock, famous man of 750 racing, beat the Lotus at Silverstone. It was quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely, and I believe that the car, Jack held the record here at Prescott for many years in Simplicity.
Yeah, in '59, I think it was, he set the 750 hill climb record, the vintage 750 hill climb record here at Prescott, and it stood until 66, 7 years or something like that. Yeah. 51.96 his time, something like that.
A remarkable achievement for a car that was built along very homemade lines and in a garage which I think I'm right in saying had no mains electricity. Is that right?
Yes, the car was built in '53. We didn't get mains electricity in Elmore, which is just south of Gloucester, until 1954. So any holes that were drilled by hand. Any light was done by paraffin lamp or Tilly lamp, and stuff. It was primitive, it was difficult, but it was simple and it was done well.
It worked, and I should mention that Roger is here all the way from Texas to be with us today. So thank you very much indeed, Roger.
It's right good to see y'all.
Thanks, Richard. That was keep them coming in. These are priceless. Charlie will be a film star or video star for years to come on these interviews, but they are priceless, and it's great to get them recorded. We're back on track we're going to finish about 4 o'clock, folks, so you'll be relieved to hear it. It'll be golden silence after that, but we've still got the odd one going up. Anybody else wants to have a go? Now's your time to do it, because I think the track will officially close by then, but we're still open for business, as far as I understand, until the man shuts the gate, as it were. We're looking at the start area at the moment, but Richard, if you'd like to, you've probably got a couple of more of the interviews in the bag. Do you want to run those now? If so, now's your chance.
Well, now we're in the exhibition area hosted by the British Motor Museum at Gaydon, and we're standing in front of what are undoubtedly the stars of the show today. Great interest to everybody, and those are the two twin-cam racers from the late 1930s that are absolutely unique two cars. And with me is the gentleman who is Andy Storer, who is responsible for making sure that they're running here today.
They're as difficult now as they were in 1935. That's what's happening, particularly in the rain.
Right.
So they were quite a tricky car, and in period, because a Grand Prix car in every way really, and they're still tricky, which is why we're struggling to start them in the rain.
Yeah, well, there we go. They're obviously a star performer, needs to be looked after and cosseted.
Absolutely. That's the car, not me.
Yes, of course. Now, Andy has spent enormous efforts to get these cars here today and running, and we're very, very grateful. We've got cars running around the paddock area at the moment, warming up. There's a lovely smell of Castrolare coming from that way.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Chris Hudson's driving the blue K. Peter car, and we just managed to get that to go. That's what you can hear in the background.
Yeah.
And then the next one will be the twin cam. It's a great privilege to drive these things. Something that, you know, from being a boy, we see these and admire them, and to be in a place where we can drive them and see them running is really very special. I think a lot of people here today are desperate to see them go.
Indeed they are, Andy. Thank you very much for your time. Get back to your work. Thank you. Well, we've just been looking at the twin cams from the British Motor Museum, and they spawned a whole number of cars after that general style. And one we're looking at now is probably the most raced single-seater ever, we think, with over 100 races to its credit, which is a lot for these sort of cars. It's called Miss Green, and with me is its proud owner, Christian Peterson, and also Alex Mile, who looks after the car. So could you tell us a bit about it, Christian?
The body is made by Rod Yates. It runs a side valve engine with a massive supercharger, and I've been racing the car since 2009.
Right. It certainly is a remarkable car, and it's probably the nearest thing we can see to the team cars regularly racing today. The technology under the bonnet, the ability to be able to extract something like 8 or 9 times more power than they were designed for, it is a tribute to Pigsty and Alex Marl and his team. Alex, can you give a bit more information about what makes this car go?
Well, it was a development over years. It started off normally aspirated, running on petrol. Then we added the supercharger, still on petrol. Then we increased the boost. Then eventually went to methanol and increased the boost further. We kind of hit the boost limit, we think, now. So, yeah, it's been just a permanent development.
Yeah, I think it's a remarkable achievement of the little car engines that were designed 100 years ago and now producing so much power, using modern techniques and a lot of secret engineering, if I might say so.
It's very standard Austin-ish inside. It's basically a Type 65 engine, obviously with a new Phoenix crank, but it's essentially splash-fed, 1.5 inch Phoenix crank, Pigsty rods, with decent bearings, and we found that it stays together.
Well done. I think that it just shows that we can still build cars like this and get into historic racing well, we won't say not necessarily the most modest field, but Austin Sevens are the best route into historic racing. You would agree, gentlemen?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time. Bye now.
Thanks, Richard. That was yes. These are little gems. These are, and in the background when you were talking to Charlie was talking to Andy Storer, I noticed number 1 was lurking in the background, almost the ghost of Bert Hadley. In actual fact, in about 10 days' time, it will be 83 years since Bert and his colleague Dennis Buckley brought the twin cams, entry numbers 25 and 26 respectively. They brought them to their first and only visit to Prescott, and Bert automatically broke the existing class record, and I think his time was 47.76, and he famously caught a wooden peg in the undergrowth on the edge of the track, and he took the tyre off and flicked it up onto a tree branch by a marshal's post. And later on, because he was running these inset twin rears which changed the road holding and cornering immensely. They tried twin rears earlier on with an extra wheel added on, and they were dangerous. Bert didn't like them, and that was what Pratt Disco was running at Backwood when he hit the tree. And anyway, because of this, they'd only got 2 sets of these specially developed close inset twins. They're actually 2 rims laced together. Very clever. And so they borrowed one off Dennis Buckley's car to allow him to run out of order, so he got his second time. He actually had 3 runs because the first time the timing didn't record, so he had an extra practice run. But in actual fact, on page 2 of your page 5 on the inside of your program, which I'm sure everybody has bought one or proceeds to Parkinson's, the illustration is very photographic, as I think you'll agree. It is actually a painting by Graham Bosworth, one of a series which Clive Hadley asked him to do. I've got one that's off the cover of my book, and but we don't know where the original was. But I had a Polaroid photograph taken of the actual painting, and that is what you see now. But that is actually done from a photograph, obviously. But everything is correct, even to the blue of Bert's helmet. He was one of the early ones to actually buy a Herbert Johnson helmet. But it's a cracking reproduction of a photograph, and all credit to Graham. So there we go. In 10 days' time, it'll be 83 years since that event took place. 30th of July 1939, and his next one, of course, was Crystal Palace on the 26th of August. And the next event after that was Shelsley, and he was confident, Bert was confident he would at least equal Mays's record. But, of course, Hitler dictated otherwise. So all these things, what if, etc., didn't happen, and the rest is history, of course. But anyway, it's almost 4 o'clock. I'm just going to ask Richard, have you any more interviews to give us?
We're in the exhibition area where there's a hive of activity. We've got Austin Sevens everywhere, and with me is Emma Erie of RH Insurance, who are our platinum sponsor for the whole event and have made this very much possible. Emma, would you like to say a few words about Austin Sevens?
Thank you very much indeed, Charlie. Well, it's always an absolute pleasure to be with our good friends from the Austin 7 community. This is a tremendous event, and I think it's testament to all of your hard work over the last probably 6-12 months, if not longer, to make this the success that it is. We're glad it's a bit cooler today. We can see some amazing Austin 7 frisky action going on there, and yeah, we're just absolutely delighted to be this. This is our 45th year working closely in partnership with the Austin 7 Clubs Association, so it's really fitting that we were able to be one of the headline sponsors, so thank you.
Well, thank you indeed, Emma, that's great.
Right, folks, if anybody wants to have a last gasp, with apologies to Andy Storer, run up the hill in the paddock, you have your suitable set of wheels with you, now is your chance to do it. You've got about 10 minutes or so to get up the hill and get back again. It doesn't look likely, but the hill is technically still open. It will close officially at 4 o'clock as per the original intention, and then that will be the official end of the day's proceedings. I've got Charlie with me here. Have you recovered? I mean, it's been brilliant, mate. I know you've all had hassle and then the rain and God knows what, but I think you must be secretly quite chuffed.
Well, people seem to have enjoyed it immensely, so that's the main thing. It's been quite a remarkable day, and yeah, we got a few things a little bit wrong, but on the whole, it's gone really well. So yeah, thank you. I think we're pretty much to the point now where we can probably wrap up the broadcast. We're at 10 to 4. And nobody's got any yellow tickets left, so I think we're to the point where the track's going quiet.
Yeah, okay, well, in deference to the boys in orange, and the girls of course, I will say they can now stand down, shall I?
Well, wait a minute, we look like Tom's having another go.
Well, there's always one, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know whether he's got a ticket, but he has.
Who is it? Oh yes. Oh, they're all coming out the woodwork again, folks. So, marshals, don't go home yet. Right. Tom Emden with his Super Accessory Sportsmen. Only 3 of these exist, very few were made, but they're relatively expensive, of course. Well, you could buy a ready-to-fit Super Accessories ash and aluminium body for about 49 quid or something like that. And now JY, which is one of the speedies. Again, I'm not sure who's driving it. No, it's a Nippy. Of course, they do share the same front wings, of course, and similar back wings. So the fronts are the same, but the bonnet is different on a Speedy. You have to bend it to open it to clear the headlamps. I thought you'd just like to know that. Right, okay, are there any more? There's things moving about your last chance, folks. If you want to have a go, you won't do it again for a long time under these conditions. About 10 minutes to go, but we shall declare the course closed very shortly. But if you want to have a go, you can't get your car started, we'll give you another 5 minutes, I think. Meanwhile, we're watching the very immaculate all black Nippy going up. JY, I think that's a is that a Portsmouth number or something like that? No, Plymouth I think it is. Oh, yes, that's the killer bit, that is there. Speed-wise, of course. But I just had Charlie in, as you heard, and he's survived, and he's had a lot of hassle, of course, but so has everybody else involved. And this this juncture, I'd just like to sort of wrap things up and do a few thank yous. Most of you will know who they are. If you bought the programme, folks, thank you very much for doing so. All sorts of people involved. I won't go through everybody because they're all on the list, but you know that all sorts of people have come together, and not weeks, not months, but years of planning has gone into this, and of course at Morton as well, which is something entirely different but the same, if you know what I mean. So thank you to everybody involved for all the hard work, and thanks to all the supporting companies who've helped us to put on what is a considerably costly event. You'll be surprised behind the scenes. I've heard a few figures bandied about, but we have to do things properly, and this is the way to do it. And when I was running the Bert Hadley Championship, I do remember the Bugatti Owners Club in particular were very welcoming to Austin Sevens, a bit like the Bentley Drivers Club. They always invited us to their famous Silverstone meetings. We love Austin Sevens. A bit different from another motor club I could in the Midlands who hold a similar hill climb. They were very sniffy until their secretary changed, and we were in, which of course was Bert's wheel tracks. But anyway, thank you to everybody involved, and thanks to the technical team who helped me out with all this strange stuff, to Richard for these amazing pictures which have been going out live, and you can all pick it up either now or whenever you want to do it. Modern technology at its best. Some of it is pretty rubbish, to be honest, but this is really good stuff. Thank you to everybody, and thanks to RH Insurance, who we all love and insure our motor cars with. That's from a satisfied customer, by the way, on both sides of the fence. And so I will now wrap up. My name's been Jeff Rowe. Incidentally, I'm wearing Bert Hadley's 1936 team overalls. They're not for show, they are the genuine article, and it's quite possible he actually raced his first race at Brooklands in these overalls before he bought his own, which are now of course in the archives. But Bert presented me with them about 1986. He says, "You like overalls, don't you, Jeff?" I said, "Well, I sort of live in them." He said, "Rose," that's his wife, "would you get them, please?" And she came with this beautiful folded and iron set of overalls, which had been hanging up on a nail on his garage wall ever since he moved to Kenilworth. And he was the same size as me as I used to be, 5'5", but he had to watch his waistline throughout his career, actually, and into later age. But I can only just get in them, and there's a label in the back amongst the labels made by D. Lewis of London, and we've got another car on the line, so we haven't shut the circuit yet. It says neatly stitched in, guaranteed shrink proof. Well, of course that was in 1936, but they must have shrunk since then. But and if it was going to be as hot today as it was yesterday, I wasn't going to wear them because I probably wouldn't be able to get out of them. But anyway, they're on anyway, and they do come out now and again, and I'm so grateful for Bert giving them to me, because they're one of my most prized possessions. Incidentally, dealers do still exist in London. They're not in central London, but they still exist. And I saw an advert for reproduction Brooklands type overalls in white or in black. I think it was in Octane magazine or something. So I rang them out of interest. So I told them I got an original pair, and I said, some of our members might be interested in buying it. How much are they? To you, sir, £600 plus VAT. So I said, does that include embroidering the green letter A on the pocket? Oh no, sir, we don't do embroidering. You'll have to get that done extra. So thank you very much. But obviously I didn't push the idea to anybody, because I didn't know anybody who was willing to pay £600 plus VAT. Of course, they were tailored to suit you, proper men's tailoring, but even so, it was, I guess, the Goodwood Revival meetings and stuff like that are full of them. But anyway, that's that. So the car is now off the circuit, so I think now I will close the course if that's okay with everybody. So we are now closing the course. Thank you to all the marshals and associated people. I know you've had an easy day for once. Thank you very much. Oh no, there's been a chummy parked here opposite me at the start line, and the bloke's just got in it and moved it, and he's now gone up the hill. Would you believe? So I think, and there's another car moving in the paddock with his hood up. No, this is the last final move. He's been sitting there for about half an hour, not moving, and now he's gone. I don't know who he is. He shall be nameless. Anyway, so after this, it's got a Swansea number on it, and he's having a good look around. I've seen him floating about, but I don't know who he is. And it's got lightweight wings on the front. Looks quite nimble. And it is, of course, Andrew Tongue. Of course, I should have known, and he is the clerk of the course. So I do apologise. Forget what all the rubbish I just spouted. Of course, he is closing the course. Now we know he's the last car up. Job done. So even the clerk of the course at Prescott drives an Austin 7. There you go. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for putting up with me. I'm sorry my fellow commentator Liam couldn't make it, but anyway, we muddled through in the end, and I hope you enjoyed it all. And I'm now going for a gargle. Thank you very much, and good luck if you're going back to Morton. We've got another week of this, haven't we? Goodbye for now.